we are actually going to be talking about, this is one of the cards. I didn't get a chance to finish the other one. Here it is. We'll work on this together. So from March 1st to 31st, there is a savings event where you can save 20% on select bundles, and also the mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, which this thing is adorable. Okay, so I just want to go over, I just want to go through this for a minute. So I'm just going to scroll down. There are certain bundles that they put on sale because they actually coordinate with the machine, meaning all of the dies in that particular bundle will fit through the smaller Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine versus our full-size Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So I'm going to go over a few here, and you can see the markdown prices as well. So for Hydrangea Haven, for example, originally $58, marked down to $46.25. Our mini, which also comes with the plates, this would originally be $60, but it is marked down to $48. And while I don't, normally just dive right into prices, I just wanted to make that clear before I go ahead and start making, before I start making the cards. So if you guys have any questions about that, let me know. Okay, so the world is better because of you. To an incredible woman, you are capable of amazing things. You make me smile. I appreciate all the little things you do. For you, with love. Congrats. I love you. Thank you. And these are, some of them are larger, like the world is better because of you is actually a larger stamp. And some of them are actually smaller. So, for example, this one here, for you, that can fit on a small tag. So let me show you the dies that go along with this too, and you'll start to get a picture of this. Okay, so the Hydrangea Dies, that's what they are officially called. And here is the tag. I love this tag. So cute. Hi, Deborah. How are you? Thank you so much for stopping by on the live. So we have definitely a lot of dies here. Every single one of these dies is a size that will fit through our mini. Okay, so I had made some cards with these last year and the paper retired and one of the colors retired. So I'm going to show this to you, but just keep in mind that it's, a little different than the norm. So this was a card that I had made last year when I was first showing this bundle. And this is what the tag looks like. So I cut it in a couple of different colors. And so you can see how small the thank you and the for you is. So you could either make that as a gift or you can use it as a decoration on a card. The color, well, actually, I think all of these colors are okay. I had used Seaside Spray on a couple of the cards there. So that was the one that I didn't want to, show because you can't get that anymore. So let's go ahead and make some cards. So we're going to do this two ways. So one of the things about stamping with multi-step stamping, meaning that we have like our base, and let me show it to you. I'm going to move this stuff out of the way. Don't lose my little tag. Okay. So let me just bring in my Stamparatus here. Now, if you're going to be stamping something really simple and you actually want it to just be some simple stamping on a simple card layout, like just one layer, we're going to recreate this. But you could also use stamping on the Stamparatus to cut out your full-size hydrangea piece here. So this is what the die looks like. Okay, so if you needed to make 10 or 20 of these cards and you wanted to make them pretty and you wanted to make them fairly quickly, I love the Stamparatus for that. Now you don't have to use your Stamparatus. You can go ahead and use your clear blocks, but that's how I'm going to be demonstrating it tonight. So I'm going to get, let me just set this to the side here. I have both of my Stamparatus plates. All right, and then we're going to start, we'll use our mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine to cut. And these are the plates, by the way. for our mini. We have plates 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, and then we'll go through those in just a minute. I also have my silicone mat, and I'll go over what that's for too. Okay. And let me know what you guys are up to tonight. How's everybody doing? Let me get one of my layers. So I'm just going to put down a piece of basic white, and I had actually set this up before before the live. So what I did was I just marked where my paper will go on my scrap paper here. All right, so that we can just line these up and do this and repeat, but we can also use a thinner strip of paper that will fit nicely through our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So we're going to do this twice, okay? So I'm just going to put my magnets down. I might have to move them around. I should have cleaned them before I went live. I think we're okay. Okay, so I'm going to use the Memento Tuxedo Black for the overall hydrangea stamp, and then for my sentiment on this one. So with the Stamparatus, if you've never seen it before, you're going to get 2 plates. When you get your Stamparatus, you're going to get 2 magnets, 2 like longer magnets. You're also going to get this foam mat that comes with it, and it has a magnetic base so that you can reposition your magnets as you need to and set down your paper. So I'm going to be using both plates tonight, and they are hinged, so you can hinge them in and take them out and reposition them if you need to. Okay, so if you want to get a nice, really simple layout going, you would just put your paper down, put a clean stamp down over top of it, pick it up with your plate, and I can recreate that for you guys. If you want to see that, just let me know. You would just position it where you want, pick it up with your plate, ink it, and then just start stamping and repeat. So you would cut as many layers as you need. So this first card is going to be the simple stamping version where we're featuring the stamp set. And then our next card will be using the dies. Hi, Linda. Hi, Sonia. Oh, it's nice to see everybody. Okay, so let me know how you guys are doing. How's your Sunday night? We had a wonderful weekend here. My mom is here visiting. So nice. Connor gets so excited when my mom is here. I'm just inking this. Okay. You could choose whatever colors you would want. I tend to like the outline with the Memento Tuxedo Black. Okay, so I'm just fitting my hinges in, and I'm just going to set this down. One of the best things about a Stamparatus is that if you're working with a larger size stamp and you don't get your image perfect the first time, you can go over it, you can, re-ink and put it in the exact same spot over and over again, as long as you've secured your paper down. Okay, so I'm just going to press that down for a minute. And then when you pull your plate up, I would say just be patient with it so that it doesn't pull your paper up with you. And then we have our image. So I'm really happy with the way that this looks. So we're done with this, this hinge or this plate for now. So on my other one, we have our layering or our color layer stamps. Okay, so we're going to get our Highland Heather. We're going to ink the whole thing. And then I'm just going to press this down. Okay. Now, as you can see with the outline of this stamp, it's sort of like that watercolor loose outline. So it's not designed to be a perfect fit over the flowers. It's okay for it to look more like impressionist. I don't know if I'm using the right description, but it doesn't have to be an exact fit. So if you're like me and I tend to gravitate more towards the exact fit, then you're going to like the die cut version. But for the stamped version with the overlay, it's not designed to be a perfect fit over top. So I'm going to go back in one more time. I'm going to get my gorgeous grape this time. I'm going to get my little sponge dauber here. Okay. And then I'm just gonna go, and let me do this in the camera so you guys can see. So we're gonna use that same stamp and we're gonna add some extra color just along the edge here. And I'm just kind of stippling it, just kind of dabbing it around, just to kind of give it some extra definition there. And you could put your, you know, shadow wherever you want, or your deeper color wherever you would like. You can layer that or add more color if you want. I'm just going to do it really softly. Okay, and then we're just going to go back in a second time. And we can do that because we have our stamp positioning tool. Okay, and then we're going to pull this up. Got to be careful because I have some ink right there. And I'm going to get it on my fingers. Okay, so now we're going to flip it to the other side. Okay, and then as I go to set that down, we can see that the leaves and the stem are lined up. So you would put that stamp clean right over and then pick it up with this plate, and you want to do it on the opposite side of this one, because if you put the two of them too close together, they'll overlap and you won't get a clean stamp. Okay, so I'm going to get, I have Old Olive here. Okay, so we're going to ink up the whole thing with Old Olive. I'm just going to bring this down. We're just going to let that go. And same thing, it's not designed to be a perfect fit. So it may have, you know, might be outside the lines a little. That's okay. All right, and so there's our Old Olive. So let me close these up. Well, you know what? We're going to use them again. So let me leave that open just for a couple minutes. Just going to set these right off to the side so I don't put my hand in it. Okay, so now we're going to get, I think I had Mossy Meadow around here somewhere. Yes, I do. Okay, so I'm going to use my Stampin' Spot in Mossy Meadow. And it's kind of a close green. So you can use the, you know, if you have more sponge daubers, you can use your sponge dauber. I love these with the Stamparatus because you can kind of go right in and add some color. So I'm just trying to focus on going to like the outer edge of the leaf, each leaf here, just to kind of add some extra color. Okay, and then I'm going to go right up the stem again. So not the full leaf, just kind of the edges of the leaf, and you'll see that color. You see that as we start to set that down. Okay. And then let me go ahead and pull that up. There we go. All right, and so that just gives a little more depth and definition to this image, right? And then that's all you do. So we technically had 3 stamps, 2 colors for each stamp. And then you just use your Stamparatus plates to build this out. So this is the Hydrangea Haven stamp set. This is, I just think this is so beautiful. Okay, so that's for the Stamparatus portion. Now we're going to do this again in just a minute, but let's go ahead and make this card first, and then we'll do our second card, which will be with the die cutting. Hi Linda, hi Patricia, how are you guys? Let me know how everybody's doing tonight. I'll go back through comments in just a second here. Okay, so I'm just going to set this off to the side for just a moment. We're going to switch out our tools here. I'm going to get my paper trimmer. We're going to get some gorgeous grape ink. I mean, not ink, cardstock, pardon me. All right, so this is the 8.5 by 11. We're going to make a card base with this. If you like to conserve your cardstock and you like to get 2 card bases out of 1 sheet, you'll just go to 4 1/4, cut this in half, and then score it at 5.5 inches. I'm going to do this the sideways open, so it opening this way. So I'm going to cut it to 5.5. I'll save those pieces for later. And then we're going to go to 8.5. And then I'm going to score at 4 1/4. Okay. This is going to be a really simple card base. Because the inside of this card base is darker, I would either recommend, you know, putting a layering piece in, which is what I typically do. And that piece would be 4 by 5 1/4, which is the same exact size that we used for this piece here. All right, and then you could do your inside for your card here too. And then we're going to be using the Gorgeous Grape ribbon. This is the sheer ribbon, 3/8 of an inch. And we're also going to be using pastel pearls. Okay, so we're going to do those as well. And we're going to put this down. All right. Now, because I have like this tiny little edge right here that doesn't have color on it. And if you're okay with that, that's great. That's going to drive me a little bit nuts. So I'm just going to sneak in just a wee bit of color here. You could always reposition and ink it again, but that's fine. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to put some ribbon right here on our layer. So I'm just gonna, I've been really loving ribbon lately. Usually I go for the embellishments like the rhinestones. I don't know if it's because of spring. I'm just like really feeling the ribbon. Okay, so we're just gonna go right around. Let me trim this off. Okay. Get that piece. Let's make sure that looks even-ish. There we go. That looks pretty good. Okay. Yes, I like that. All right, so let's go ahead and put this down. We're going to put this right on our layer. I should say right on our card base. Here we go. Okay. If you guys have a favorite colored hydrangea, let me know. My aunt had blue ones for a really long time, and they were so beautiful every year. I just think that they're all beautiful. I don't really have a preference of color, but I think because of spring, I've just been thinking so much of purples. Okay, so I'm going to take a second piece of ribbon here. I'm going to thread this through, and you could do this on either side. So for this card, I did it on this side, and maybe for this card we'll do it on this side and just see how that looks, and you can ultimately choose which one you would want. But let me just, I'm going to make this a smaller bow, so not too big, and that's just so we don't interfere with the sentiment on the outside of the card. Okay. I feel like I'm having trouble finding my words tonight, my descriptive words. Okay, here we go. All right. Cute. I love the sheer ribbon because even if it does go like layer over something, you can still see it. All right, so I'm just going to leave it just like this. I'm going to pull this loop down just a little bit just to kind of get that even there. We're going to trim this edge off. Okay, we're going to put our pastel pearls in purple. We're going to do 3 of them. So I'm going to go like under the bow, above the bow, just kind of at a slight angle there. And then we'll do our third one up over here somewhere. Okay, and then that's like our simple version of the hydrangea card, like if you just want something with a stamp on layer. Now, if you plan on using the dies and you want to get more into layers and you want to get more into using your Stampin' cut and emboss machine, and also If you've never used a die cutting machine, you know, you can let me know that too in the comments. But we have a full size guy, which let me show you that. So let me just hang on one second, and I'll just show you the difference in size. So a really good snapshot for this is, here is the size of the mini plates, and here are the size of the big plates. Okay, so there is definitely a size difference here. It's a little bit harder to show the machine because of the positioning of my camera, but let me try. So our full size machine, which is wonderful, cuts all of those larger size dies. Let me show you the size of these little plates, and I'll show you what an ideal size of paper is to go through. So here is the big machine. Okay, so here's the big guy, and here's the little guy. So let me see if I can angle that. Okay, so he is significantly smaller, or this is significantly smaller. And it's really fun for traveling if you're crafting in a group, if you're crafting with a little one, like I do, or you just like to have extras, right? Like I have a lot, every time we talk about having tools, we usually have multiples. So this is no exception. We probably all have several die cutting machines in our home, but the little ones, they're little, but they're mighty. So this is a little trick, but you can use a silicone mat if you are working on a surface that is a little bit slippery and you feel like your machine isn't secure enough. So the silicone mat will prevent it from moving. Okay, so this is our mini. The size of the plate is 3.5 inches by 7 inches. Okay, so whenever you are going to put paper through the mini, you just want to keep in mind the size that you're going to be using. And then the really nice thing about these plates is that the directions are right on them. So our number 1 plate is the one that we're going to use for our simple die cutting, right? And so if we're going to cut out our hydrangea and we're going to use this die, we're going to use this plate combination, which will be plates 1, 2, and 2. Okay. So let me grab those. I have plates 1, 2, and 2. And then we're going to try to cut our paper from this point on for anything we're going to be running through this machine to less than 3.5 inches. So it could either be 3.5 or just under 3.5. So I'm going to cut a couple of strips of my basic white cardstock at that mark. Okay. So let's just do, and let's take a look at the die cut too, right? So the sizing of the die cut, it's going to fit comfortably on this, right? So even if we cut at 3 1/4, we're going to be okay. And then we're going to put down plate number 1. We're going to put down plate 2. We're going to put our piece of paper down here. Okay, so you can see that paper fits. And I don't, and this is, again, this is just me. I kind of like to go half, I don't like to be right up against the edge of the plate. I like to bring it back a little bit. I find like it can be too hard to crank through if you do it that way. So we're just going to line this up with our image as best we can. And if you like to tape them down, go ahead and tape it. I am gonna angle this just a little more so you guys can see that going through. Okay, so you can see that this is down a little bit. Just going to find that happy place. I'm really focusing on the stem here, and I want these leaves to look pretty good. So I think that's good. And then we're going to put our second number 2 plate right over top, and we're going to cut. So let me just run that through. I'm going to hold the handle here. All right, and that's our mini. So I had my mini kind of up. It wasn't on a flat surface so that you guys could see it. So I was running it through a little bit more, but it cuts just as beautifully as the large size. Okay, so really, really cute. And if you have any edges that you want to color or fix up, you can, but I actually like the way that that looks. Here we go. So I'm going to use my foam mat because the hydrangea stamps are photopolymer. So that will give us just a little more oomph. All right, so this is the back side of the card, but we'll pretend like it's the front. And then I have this stamp here. Okay, so this stamp is this piece right here. And we're going to do tone on tone. So we're going to do some more Highland Heather here. I'm trying to look around for what I did with that cardstock. It couldn't have gone far. It might be sitting on my office chair now that I think about it. Okay, so we're just going to take this and we're just going to start creating a pattern with it. And I'm going to take my scrap piece here and we're going to cover it just right at the line. For our die cut hydrangeas, let's just arrange this and see what we think. Because we can add additional layers if we want, or we can just kind of let the flowers be the focus. And I actually have a third one floating around here. And the thought that I had in my head was just making like a little, here it is, making like a little bouquet of these and then having the sentiment at the bottom. So let's just see what that looks like. We can kind of do, let me see if I can just kind of stack them this way. What do we think of that? I think that's pretty. Okay, so kind of like a trio like this. We can tie some ribbon around this here and then do our sentiment at the bottom.
Okay, so I'm going to jump in with a voiceover now. These are the foam adhesive sheets, and what you see is they are very easy to manipulate. So the piece that I put down on the back of my hydrangeas was a little too big and it was kind of showing through. And it wasn't, you know, anything major, but I just decided to pull a few pieces off. And then instead of wrapping my ribbon around the leaves, I decided to just tie a bow and use a glue dot at the center of the bow to adhere it to the leaves on the cards. And I thought that was a really pretty look, and it saves on your ribbon if you like to conserve your ribbon. My goal with this video was to show you that it is very easy to do multi-step stamping quickly. So if you want to make the same card 20, 30, 40, 50 times, it's so helpful to have something like a Stamparatus and a stamp set like Hydrangea Haven, and you get a lot of stamps in that set. And with it being on sale, it's just an incredible deal. And it's spring, right? This is the time that we think about these things, these colors, these flowers. And there are so many different inspirational messages in here that you could use. So, you know, get that Stamparatus out, get your mini Stampin' Emboss machine while it's 20% off. What a great deal. $60 marked down to $48. Whether it's for you or for someone else, what a cute gift would that be inside an Easter basket, especially if you're looking for those non-sweet alternatives, right? But I just wanted you to be able to do simple cards in repeat, whether it was just the stamps or if you were incorporating some die cutting. Thank you, and I will see you on Thursday.